G'day, listeners. Welcome to Bar Karate, the sailing podcast. My name is Jordan Spencer, and it's that time of the week where I get to hang out with some really cool sailors. But unfortunately, I have to share the mic with my two idiot mates. So first up, welcome to the psychedelic, Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, exalted one.
BP.
Psychedelic, all right. Hey, been doing a bit of research and a bit of work on over the last week. The Ginga Challenge
Yes.
is on the top of my list, amongst other things.
Of course.
And I've just sort of trying to position myself in the team, and I've come up with off of a group of colours. And Moroccan sunset is actually my colour of hair.
Moroccan sunset.
Yep. It's been actually identified as Moroccan sunset.
You're reaching,
that is
BP.
my colour.
You
of
are
hair.
reaching.
Do you like that?
I love
Moroccan
it, mate.
sunset.
I love it. You should paint your house that colour.
I was always brought up being Auburn.
Oh, no, but your Moroccan sunset. It don't. You know there's going to be 100 listeners that go down to the hairdresser now and ask for a Moroccan sunset hair tint.
Yeah, well, you know why I'm doing this? Because every one of those hair people that go down to a salon, we get $2.
$2, that's right, for the Ginga Challenge. Let's bring in the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Brett Perry.
Mr. Moroccan sunset.
Mr. Nick Bice.
Clearly, you've been flat out during your lockdown. You've even researched the exact shade of the colour of your hair.
Yeah.
I have to say I was sorry, go on.
Yeah, no lockdown here, but running the gauntlet this week, man, heading over to Victoria. Assuming things are going to be pretty sweet over there. Looking forward to catching up with the Vic Etchell boys for a little couple of beers. So massive Etchell episode next week for sure.
Oh, dear.
Mate.
No, all good. But quick shout out before we do kick things off. Lucky enough to attend the great Steve Kemp's 60th birthday.
Happy birthday,
on
Kempy.
Friday.
How is the great man?
Yep. Well, attended by some of the greats in the sport. To be topped off with Sir James Hardy was there. Plenty of stories going around. My story was kind of early in the piece, so probably a bit too appropriate, just not enough looseness. Caelan Howard's at the end of the piece, totally loose.
It would have been an unreal lunch to be at.
Unreal lunch, and it's we're a good 48 hours after it now, and I think we're all still sipping the odd sparkling water.
Just a bit sore in the head. I love it. Happy birthday, Kempy, and I wish I'd been there. I love it. Cool. All right, shall we bring in our guest this week, boys?
Yeah, I'm excited.
You're excited?
For more reasons than one.
You're excited?
Yeah.
All right. So we've had some unreal guests on this show, and for the listeners who aren't Australian, I just need to. I'm going to have to explain who this guy is because you won't quite get it. He sailed all his life. He's been around boats all his life, and he did the America's Cup, 35th America's Cup on Team Oracle, and the US team. He won the Sail GP, the first season of the Sail GP in the Australian team. So pretty good record just on the basis of that. But that is completely irrelevant. So if Australia had a sport where, every nation has a sport where no other nation should bother turning up, where they are just the dominant nation. And for Australians, it's surf lifesaving. Every kid, or 90% of all kids in Australia, every Sunday morning down at the surf club, grow up doing nippers, and we produce just these unreal surf lifesavers. So they can swim in the ocean, they can paddle boards, they can paddle skis, they can save your life. And it's a major, major thing. And once in a blue moon, you get these absolute freaks of nature that come through that. And our guest tonight was one of those guys, one of the absolute freaks of that series. So much so that, iconically known around Australia, you couldn't walk into a room without being recognised. He's on the cereal packet. Then he decided I might go and do the Olympics. So he went to a couple of Olympics, just thought do some open water swimming, do 10K swims and have a go at that. And then thought, might give this sailing a bit more of a go, and ended up doing the America's Cup and Sail GP. So it gives you some sense of the guy, but you have to understand this is one of the iconic Australian athletes. Every single person would know this guy and is rated seriously. So I'm probably buzzing more than the other blokes, to be honest, but we are super chuffed to be chatting to...
Oh, wait. before we bring him in, you forgot one
What?
very
Important thing.
probably the pinnacle.
Yep.
The pinnacle.
Yeah.
Fellow Land Rover Defender owner.
Oh.
All right, go for it.
You've just spoilt all the good work, boys. Yeah, Ky Hurst, welcome to the show, mate.
Mate, what a wrap. Thanks.
Dead set legend, mate. Like, my favourite thing about you, Ky, is watching you go into the water with some of the best ocean swimmers you've ever seen in your life. Dive in the water, you pop up 5 metres in front of them, and then when you come around the cans, come back in, you just hook these waves that nobody could body surf, and you pick them up and roll through. I just don't know how you do it, mate, and it's just freakish to watch.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, it's. I guess I've been lucky. I learned how to surf when I was 2, and my family's always been involved in the ocean, with the ocean in some way, shape, and form. So, man, I've never been further than a few hundred meters from it my whole life. So, see mum surf. She still does every day. She's down at Kira surfing, and hasn't the last few days. It's been a bit big for her. But my uncle Andy Mackey was world longboard champion back in '82, and my great uncle back in the day, I think he was one of the first longboard champions in Australia, and he swept multiple Australian championships for North Bondi and other clubs as well. So I guess it's in my blood, isn't it? The salt water.
But as yachty, like just growing up down the yacht club, always being part of a yacht club, were you the same just down the surf club, and that's what kind of thrust you into it?
Yeah, my family have always been on two sides. They've been on the surfing side of things and also the surf life saving side of things. And, obviously Andy Mack wrote for, he was on the World Surfing Tour for a really long time. And then his wife, which is my auntie, Mandy McKinnon, she wrote for 15 years on the World Surfing Tour as well. So, it was one of those things where, I joined the board riders when I was about 6 years old on the Central Coast. And kind of from there, it was, it was just a passion. I must have just had a few mates in the surf club. So I joined, and, things kind of progressed. As soon as I started in that movement, I was like a duck in water, I guess.
Yeah,
duck in water.
Fish, literally a fish in water.
Shark in the water, mate. Your nickname's Killer, so you're the shark in the water, bud. I think just to give you some sense, so people who are not from Australia don't understand how many millions of kids are down swimming and doing surf life-saving nippers. And so with your record at Aussies, and the amount of people that turn up to the Australian Championships, it's 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people turn up to compete, and your Aussie records in the open swim alone, in underage you never were beaten. So you probably have to swim off against about 1 billion kids, and you've never been beaten in the age group. And then you went to the Open, and basically what you did, 11 open water swims, and you won 10 of those.
Yeah, something like that.
Imagine turn up to this, like your age group was, you grew up with Ky Hurst, and you're trying to do open water swim. It's just insane. Yeah. And then, and you didn't sort of wait to start at the pro level. Like you're 16, you suddenly just popped up and just started winning shit, mate.
Yeah, I remember. It's going back a while, but I was 14. I did my first Uncle Toby's. It's a series, Uncle Toby's Super Series trials, and the likes of Trevor Hendy, Guy Leach, and Grant Kenny, and that was kind of the era that I was kind of facing. And I remember leading with Steve Pullen, mate, a legend up there on the Sunshine Coast, and going into the last leg of the ski, and we're at 1-2, and I remember sitting there on the shore looking at this shorey, and I was a 14-year-old kid, mate. I was just little. And the shorey was that big. And I remember I could hear Mum in the background just yelling at me, get on your ski. And I was just pausing. Anyway, I went from first to 16th, and they took the top 15. But I remember sitting there that year watching a race in Piha, and if you go back to 1996, Uncle Toby's Super Series at Piha, mate, it was just ginormous, absolutely huge surf. And I was a 14-year-old kid watching this stuff on TV, and it was phenomenal, man. Now, this was 15, 16-foot surf. Skis are 18 feet long, and it just, these waves just dwarfed the skis, and it was just remarkable to see, I guess, just the skill level too from these blokes in the Ironman series. And as a 14-year-old, I was thanking God that it obviously happened for a reason for me to not be.
Might have dodged that bullet, you reckon?
I sure did.
The PR bullet.
Yeah, that was one hell of a bullet I missed.
By any chance, did you see the one Jordan Spencer just come cruising past on the wave of his life, just in the background?
Ignore him.
No, we'll get on to that one, Ky.
For those who want to see it, so you can actually see it on YouTube. That PH comp is on YouTube. I think just Google Uncle Toby's PH 97. PH's a beach.
I think it was. Yeah.
96, 97. Yeah. It's a beach in New Zealand. It was monstrous. I still remember it. Just
it was a classic.
Yeah,
absolute classic. But I got in the following year as a 15-year-old, and we had some good surf. That were the days when they actually sent us out and stuff, and they didn't cancel the event due to it being a little treacherous. So that were the good old days.
So how long does that circuit last for, Ky?
I was on that circuit for 4 years. And then that faltered, and basically there was two series. There was a Nutrigrain series and the Uncle Toby's series, and so I ran the Uncle Toby's series until its death, and then went over to the Nutrigrain series.
So for those who don't know, so Ky says he was on it for 4 years, and we're talking the absolute best guys were on that one, except for Darren and Dean Mercer. They were on the other one. They were the two standouts for that one. So Ky was on it for 4 years, and then after your first year, you won the next 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't sort of like there was nothing amateur. And at the same time, you also then they had the Aussies in surf lifesaving, which is separate, the amateur side of it, but all the same pros are competing and stuff. And you won 4 of those titles as well.
Yeah.
And you can't even imagine. So I did commentary for a pro triathlon once when Guy Andrews, you remember Guy Andrews, who was one of the standouts.
Yeah.
He rolled across into doing triathlon, and it was 1,500 metre swim, and all the top pro triathletes are racing, and Guy was coming out of the water at probably 300 metre lead. And
Guy can't swim.
That's what I was going to say. You would have flogged that, wouldn't you?
He's a little bulldog. Mate, no, he was a free. I think he also won 3 Uncle Toby Super Series back in the day, 2 or 3. I can't recall. I've got the trophy behind me somewhere. But he was an absolute freak in his day, and he still is, mate. He's one of those guys that just keeps going. He's just a little engine.
Yeah, I guess I'm trying to give perspective on how good the swimming is. Like he would have flogged Guy, and he's flogging all the top swimmers, triathletes in the world.
Yeah, those guys, it's a hard one because, we had a lot of guys. I trained with a lot of triathletes, and I trained with a lot of those guys that were coming through the series too, and guys like Guy Andrew. Absolutely. These guys were, close to 4-minute swimmers for their 400, which is, pretty big back in the day. And I guess when you look at it, and then the flip side of that, you had also guys like Clint Robinson, who was an Olympic gold medalist. So to look at the caliber in just that Ironman series, we had ski paddlers, we had swimmers, and great board paddlers and guys that could run. The triathlon was just a different beast again. Those guys back in the day, they were great swimmers, but mind you, as soon as they got on the bike and then off the bike and in the run, they were just different again.
Yeah.
If it was a run race, it'd be the other side of the coin. They would have just left us for dead.
Sure. But I was just trying to give people a sense of what we grow up in Australia and we see, and what like you were the original fish. Like you are still, like when you go into the water, everybody knows that Ky Hurst is coming. You know what I mean? Like if you're going a few lengths behind, you know that Ky Hurst, and some of those people that you're flogging are just if you or I went and swam against them, well, not you, Ky, but the rest of us would be,
I think, I think I was really blessed in the sense that I grew up so young in the ocean. My mum took me down every single day. So, I really had a good sense and understanding on how she moved, the ocean and how the energy sort of came in and then where did it dissipate to. You get all this swell that comes in and it's all energy at the end of the day, and it's got to go somewhere as soon as it hits the shore. It hits the bank, rolls in, hits the shore. It's got to go somewhere. You see it going up the beach, you see it go back down, and just understanding how it moves and where it goes. It rips along the bottom. You see all this turbulence up the top, and it's just it's like if you're a pilot, I think the best way I can explain it is if you're a pilot at the end of the day, you're not going to go fly through the dark crap. You're going to try and pick the light patches to go through, and the ocean's exactly the same thing. The best thing is to try and stay under for as long as you can. Along the bottom, there's generally a layer. After all that energy has come in, it wants to go back out, and so generally it will run either with a current north or south, but it will run along the bottom, and that's generally a lot quicker as well, just to try and stay under there. I think depending on the race, I've had a few races where I've stayed under for a couple of waves and then before I come up, and that certainly helped. But, you can only hold your breath for so long under pressure.
Swim along the bottom, kids. That's the tip.
So all this is going on, Ky, as you're growing up, and solid swimming as well during school.
Yeah.
And part of still hold a record, I believe isn't it? Or you held it for such a long time, some swimming pool under the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
Yeah,
that we sailed to pass one day. No, just something I'm pretty good at my research.
We've got our sources. We've got our sources.
I think it's the only one Ian Thorpe never broke.
Oh,
Yeah. I think I don't know where Scotty Miller is these days, but hi Scotty. I think he might be up behind bars.
yeah.
But
I think he is.
I'm pretty sure it was his 200 butterfly. I think it might have been his 200 freestyle record, and I think it was under 12s. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. Last time I checked was about 6 years ago, 5 years ago. I think I still had it.
Still hold it.
Yeah.
But so you've got all that going on, and obviously did a lot of quite a bit of sailing in there as well. Just man of the ocean. How the sailing side slip into it?
My grandfather was a huge sailor. He loved it, and any opportunity that I was with him, he'd always be on the yacht. So, like I said, salt water was in our veins. My grandfather, my uncle, my great uncle. It's everyone in my family in some way, shape or form was always on or in the water, whether it's surfing or sailing. And I remember spending so many days with my grandfather on the yacht sailing pit water, and we did, multiple stints up on Whit Sundays as well. And I was pretty young back then. So it was certainly a true love of mine. And, as I sort of progressed through my age, 8 years old, I got into swimming and surf lifesaving, and 9, and it just overtook my life. I was trying to juggle two sports, in the best way that I could at the time. Mum taught me how to swim at a really young age as well. And so, I fell in love with pool swimming, but, that my true love was the ocean. So, that's where I really stuck to my guns. And, everything that I was sort of doing was always drawn sort of towards the ocean. See, I grew up racing Grant Hackett. So the two of us from, 11 years old, 12 years old, right through to when he retired, we raced each other. We were side by side. But he too was also a clubby. A lot of people didn't know. His brother, Craig Hackett, was in the Uncle Toby Super Series, the Ironman Series. And
he was the big name for a while.
He was a huge name, yeah, an absolute weapon. And, so Grant and I were like this, and we'd come through the age brackets together through swimming at nationals, and that's where we'd meet. And he went this way and I went that way. And, I went down the surf path for such a long time. He went the swimming direction, and obviously paid dividends for Grant. And but I always, at the same time, I had this desire that I wanted to represent Australia at a bigger level, and that was an Olympic Games. So, mate, I remember my first Olympic trials in 1996, and I remember making the final of the 1500 freestyle, and looking down the blocks.
96, yeah.
Yeah.
A few names there.
Yeah, Glenn Houseman, Kieran Perkins, Daniel Kowalski. You know, they had them all. It was just absolutely out of control. And, what an experience. And that's where my love sort of started and kind of progressed from there. I was like, you know what, I've got to make this Australian team. I want to go to an Olympic Games in 2000. So I finished 7th in those Olympic trials in the 1500. 2000 rolled around, trialled again, finished 5th. Then 2004 Olympic trials came around. I was like, I'm so determined to make this. But, what an idiot I am, because we had the best 1500 swimmers in the world.
That whole generations of them.
It's fair to say, though, that sailing would have been relaxation for you back then.
No, it certainly was.
with Grandpa and...
yeah, I was, absolutely. It was time out, hey. But, yeah, so... And that was the same year they announced that 2008 they'd have open water. And that was kind of my bread and butter. No walls I had to deal with, just cans, and we're all good on the cans. But, and that's kind of where it progressed. So I had Grant Hackett and Craig Stevens in the 1500 who I had to overcome, but they were just too quick. So I finished 3rd at those Olympic trials in 2004, and I was like, you know what, that's it. 2008, I've just got to put my head down, my ass up, and strive for this, because I really want to make this team. Mate, things were going really well, hey. And then I had a phone call from Hacky, and he goes, "Oh, mate, I think I'm going to swim the open water." I'm like,
No, mate.
That's a stupid idea. Mate, you got the
Stick
200,
to the black lines,
the
mate.
4, the 1500, the 4x2. You got so much on your plate. The 10's really just not going to suit you. Hey, anyway, it was quite a funny period in my life back then. And we both trialled together. We finished 1 or 2 at the Australian Championships, and went over to Seville to qualify for the Olympic Games. So we had to finish top 10 at the World Championships, and luckily I finished top 10, but Hackett, Grant, just missed out. He had an absolute shocker of a swim. I think it was just inexperience. But at that time, there was no one faster in the world than Grant Hackett, be it 10K, be it 5K, be it 1500. He was the fastest distance swimmer in the world. And, unfortunately, he missed out on the 10K, but, went to the Olympics and got another couple of gold medals in 08 and whatnot, and, proved his worth.
It's a shame that the open water swim's not rough enough for you. They don't put you through the surf, like that. I'd love to see that. I'd love to see that sort of...
Yeah. Well, in 2008, it was in a rowing regatta, fresh water. Didn't really suit me too much. I was swimming exceptionally well, but I think I went a little bit too early in 2008. I remember at my last feed, we had about just under 2.5K to go, and I was feeling really comfortable. About 2K to go, I just thought I'd put down the hammer a little bit and see whether I could just open people up and hurt them, but it hurt me.
What's obviously it's quite tactical then in that, like that length swim, right? To when to, as you say, to choose your move. And
yeah, it's a lot like cycling. I think at the end of the day, drafting really helps.
Sure.
Yeah, people can go out really fast, but generally you'll always pull them back. You work in big groups, and it's just jostling at the end of the day. And that last 800 meters is just so crucial, depending on how many are in the pack, and it's all about positioning and who's got the most amount of energy, and then who's got those range of gears that you can go through as well. And we've seen since 2008, because it is an Olympic sport, that a lot of the 1500 meter swimmers are stepping up to the 10K, and the game's changed. It's it's a bloody quick swim. we get 10K done in an hour 50. And so it's, it's certainly not slow anymore.
In the open water, is there a bit of biffo?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. There's rules, but it's really hard to stick to. If you're seen intentionally hitting people, by all means, I think you get one yellow card and the second card's a red card, you're done. There's officials on the course in boats, and they've always got eyes on you. But, when you are in a big pack, and especially around the cans, around the turning markers, certainly.
Oh, it's brutal.
Who are the dirty bastards?
It's generally the guys.
Apart from Hackett.
You don't know. It's generally the guys you haven't seen before, the guys that come out of nowhere.
Yeah, sure.
So
didn't expect to be there, and the only way to get through is to give it a bit of a biff.
Yeah, exactly.
So in London, was it just a duck pond? In my memory, it was like in the middle of a park in London. Wasn't it?
Hyde Park.
It was just a duck pond,
full of duck shit.
There you go.
Come out with any
6 1 mile loops. No, they supposedly they said they moved all the ducks. So now this makes sense, hey, because they said they moved all the ducks so they can clean the water out a couple of months before. But I remember, it was Beijing, but we they had duck on the menu
everywhere you went.
Everywhere you went.
Tastes that good.
Shit, duck's popular again.
Breakfast, lunch, and tea.
Yeah.
What's for breakfast?
Chicken masala? No, duck masala.
Duck crispies.
Pick of the meat. Yeah.
Do you ever, like when
Duck
you're
and
doing those
eggs.
swims, do you ever get worried about what's in the water with you?
No, as in like fish,
As in something.
or
Sharks.
shit. Because I've swum in the Thames. That was pretty bad. I remember, I had a World Cup event in Serbia, which was quite weird. That was an odd one. I've swum in some weird locations. But the water's generally, it's not always good.
No.
No, quality of it.
Tough part of your life, especially when you come from that ocean swimming, where oceans are pretty, you've got to be working pretty hard to stuff your oceans up, although in some places they have worked really well to stuff them up.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they have.
But, yeah. Well, I guess, you went to the Olympics, you did the surf lifesaving, you made the Sporting Hall of Fame. Your life's just a glamour. You're just doing everything. How do you end up becoming a sailor, like a America's Cup sailor? How did that one happen?
Hang on, not just a sailor, right?
That's right, America's Cup.
America's Cup.
Yeah.
Oh,
I just feel like doing that now. I'll just have a go, thanks.
Yeah, I'm bored.
Mate, it was through a couple of really close friends who got in contact with, Jimmy and a couple of the crew that were at Oracle. And at the time, I remember catching up with Slingers and Jimmy down in Sydney on the Central Coast. And it was really funny because I walked out in 2008, I walked out with the sailors at both the opening and closing ceremony. But, Slingers is a pretty quiet guy, and so am I. And so we weren't actually introduced. I think we're just kind of, I was pretty, shy and probably intimidated by a few of those guys. And, it was just looking back, it's just really bizarre. And then that was the first time I'd met Slingers it was after 2012. It was basically when I was introduced through a mutual mate. And they said, why don't you catch up with Tom Slingsby and Jimmy Spithill and, the boys want to meet you, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, yes, sweet. I said, I know all about them. I know what they do and who they are. And, that was the first time. I think it was 2014 when the first time I ever met Slingers. And, we got along really well. And he said how it all came about was, they needed energy at the end of the day. And that was the direction that they're kind of going, that they wanted to go with that cup, with that America's Cup. And, energy I certainly could produce. And yeah, it was, mate, the meeting went really well. I didn't hear back from slingers for quite a long time. And so I didn't chase it. I was like, it went well, and I certainly put my hand up for it. But and then I had a phone call out of the blue, and it was Tommy and Jimmy, and they said, "Oh, mate, you keen to come over to Bermuda and do a little trial run?" And I was like, "Oh, absolutely, be fantastic."
Can do.
Can do. And before I knew it, I was on a plane to Bermuda for a couple of weeks, and did a whole heap of testing over there. So a lot of stuff on the pedestal. And I remember, I think it was my second day in Bermuda, they threw me straight on the cat on the 45 before the 50 was produced, and straight onto the handles, and to see how I could act and how I reacted with other people on the team. And mate, I always knew, we were really lucky with Oracle. Every single person that was picked, were all likable, all got along. And I think that was the beauty about that team. I just thought it was one of the most successful teams that I've ever seen and been a part of, is that, we hung out, when we weren't working. We'd go diving, we'd go drink some beers, and, it was just one of those cultures that was just really healthy. And, we all looked out for each other. And at the same time, every single one of those guys had an amazing work ethic. I came over going, this is going to be interesting. Let's see how hard these guys can actually work. And, they were all physically ready for it, and they put everything on the line. But as you saw, and, with that America's Cup, you had to, if any one of those boys were unfit, we would have been in dire straits with oil, and trying to fill accumulators as fast as we could to make sure that boat could get around the course and rip around the course as fast as she could.
Is it true, Ky, when you went over there, like actually quite a few athletes have transitioned into America's Cup for basically that energy side of things? But you could almost say, as far as paddling and swimming and to jump on the handles straight away, is it true you just blew the other guys out of the water straight away in the sense of what you could produce?
I got big lungs, so it certainly helped. But I don't think I blew them away. There was some real gifted athletes in there, and still today, a lot of them are grinders. We saw in the last America's Cup, there's a couple of them that are still going around, which is amazing. And I think what I did do was bring the level up, and they had to produce, and they certainly did that. At the end of the day, they all stepped up, which was amazing to see. But gosh, they got fit. We had tests there. I remember at the start of the campaign, none of us could finish the step test, and it was level 10 to level 30. If you know a grinding pedestal, level 30 is your highest, and you do a minute forward and a minute back from a level 10 right through to level 30, and there was no one on the team that could finish. By the time the cup came around, there was 8 blokes that could finish, and there was 6 of us that kept going at level 30 forward back. So, certainly the boys stepped up, and it was awesome to see. It was absolutely awesome, and it gave me added confidence in the crew as well, because my job was to manage accumulators and make sure there was enough oil in there at pre-start and the reach, downwind, upwind, all different manoeuvres. And so that fell on me. And so it gave me confidence in the boys that I knew where we could flirt with, how much oil, and where we had to work, and where we could, settle back down into a nice rhythm. And, it was, mate, it was a cool experience. Hey,
Yeah.
gosh, I'm really blessed.
All right. It's fair to say, I mean, that was probably the biggest transition in yachting that we'd seen.
Yeah.
Like to go foiling and then be 100% foiling the whole way around the racetrack. So pretty exciting to be part of yachting right at that transition zone.
Yeah.
And now seeing where it's gone now. Yeah.
Yeah, we saw, there was a 10-year period before that, we're looking at foiling boats, and, we saw in the 34th Cup what happened, and the game changer of just foiling upwind.
Yeah.
unbelievable. Why weren't you foiling upwind earlier? So, and then the step from there, and then, from the America's Cup to where we are now, where we saw at the last America's Cup, with the 75-foot yacht there. That thing's a beast. And to be able to get that thing up and ripping is just remarkable. I haven't stepped foot on the yacht, but I know a few good mates that have. And but then not only that, you look at the Sail GP too, and things have been modified since. We've taken one less sailor off. We're not producing oil anymore, but we're still producing, energy at the end of the day to trim the wing. But, look how fast we've got that boat moving,
Yeah.
It's, we've created more knots at the end of the day, and the thing just wants to rip. And, how much faster can we go is the question.
I'd like to step back a little bit if you don't mind, Ky. So let's go. You're sailing with your granddad. Do you think about that when the first day you got on that on the boat when you were pumping oil around and you're falling around at 50 knots? Do you think this is a bit different to my granddad's boat?
Yeah, mate. Well, so I was a little kid back then, but it's certainly. And then I did a few races, Brisbane and Gladstone a few times, and obviously race week as well before the whole cup thing started, and I was a Volvo boat, so it was. The speed difference was a big change. I mean, that's for sure.
I guess the point I'm alluding to here is that not a lot of people get the opportunity to sail on those boats, and you've done what you've done with your professional swimming and all that stuff, and your Ironman stuff, and then you get an opportunity to go on those boats. It just must have been a complete blowout for your head. Oh,
absolutely. It was wicked. I'm a realist at the end of the day. I know why I was there, and it certainly wasn't due to my sailing ability. It was purely just I could just produce energy. I was a mouse on a one of those spinner wheels, and that's what I felt like too. Some days I just sit there and fucking grind.
Were you facing forwards or backwards?
Mate, I've always. So we changed it up a little bit, but no, because normally position 2 also trims the jib, and I certainly put my hand up for it, but there were too many good guys in there for them to go, hang on a second, there's no way we're putting you in position 2. You just keep spinning that wheel, mate. And so that's what I did. No, I've just gone backwards the whole time. There's been a few incidences where I'll stop with I'll swap with Sam, and I'll face forward, and it's wicked. It's.
I was going to say. So when you're facing backwards, there must be in your back of your mind. It says, "Oh my God, is this going to happen?" Because when it happens, it's going to happen quick, right?
Yeah. Well, I've looked at rowing, and it's never made sense to me.
Yeah.
Why?
It's one of Jordan's favourite jokes, actually.
Why you go forwards facing backwards, and yeah. And so anyway, but. Yeah, that's where it's at. But it's one. Totally cool. It's absolutely cool, and every sensation of it. And the cool thing from the America's Cup through to Sail GP is that my dynamics, my role changed on the boat. So I was trimming the wing, but basically what I was doing was trying to get the optimal amount of heel for the boat as well, whether it be downwind or upwind. So I was always looking at the back wing, the back platform, and making sure that the boat was either flat or we had a lot more heel bow down. So, I was trying to make sure that we were always had enough height and were flying fast, and every time you saw a touchdown, that was generally because of me, because I've missed a catch. So it was really important at the end of the day that I was in tune with our wing trimmer at the time, and also watching the boat and the wing and where it was on the pod.
How was obviously the physical element is a massive part of it, but also the actual technical side with the foils. I mean, where did that start and stop? So the minute you got in, was it just someone or many people on the foils 24/7 to make sure that they're at their optimum?
With the cup, absolutely. The technology and the science behind everything just straight over my head. But, we would spend hours on the water, and everything was analysed at the end of the day. We'd sit down, as a team, and we'd go through all the data collection. And this was every single day. And this was, years out from the Cup. And so it was really cool to see the process of how America's Cup works. And that's all it was at the end of the day. It was just our boards were slow.
Yeah,
with Oracle. The Kiwis nailed it and kept it simple, didn't complicate things, and just absolutely pantsed us. So, it was a full credit to those guys. And, their boards look fast. They were thinner than ours. And obviously it's going to make a huge difference, which we saw.
I also think that back then was when they actually realised, and we discussed this quite a few times over the podcast, is that aero was a big factor, and people were missing the aero factor. We said that quite a lot in the past, and that was brought up when we met up with Brian in Geneva.
Okay.
They missed out on that the whole aero side of it, and instead of that, a lot of teams went, it's all about the foils.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of everything.
Yeah.
Certainly, as we're seeing with the America's Cup, we're on our foils a lot more than we were with Sail GP, and that was just due to more time in the boat. We'd spend anywhere from 97% through to 100% on the foils during the whole race. We're lucky to see that in Sail GP. So I think that's just experience at the end of the day with a lot of the sailors, and then also time in the boat. They just didn't, they don't allow us enough time in the boat. We spent so much time in the boat. And that's when you see, especially the front guys get down. And we would get on our knees and keep grinding on our knees, and that was purely just to get out of the wind. And it's aero, but there's a trade-off too at the end. At the same time, is it aero that you're chasing, or is it 100% on the foils? And by all means, if you can spend 100% on the foils, well then your next thing's aero. Try and get out of the wind. Absolutely. If you're not on the foils the whole time, well then is aero the priority? I guess you just got to look at the steps.
So when you roll out of Bermuda straight into Sail GP, Slingers puts his team together.
Yep.
And you get to where it's not the boxing kangaroo, the flying kangaroo.
Yeah.
As he calls it. It's pretty good. An Oz Sail GP team. Some bloody good blokes.
Yeah, bloody good blokes, and awesome team, and we're really lucky. Obviously a few modifications with yachts, and as you saw, and the things just got quicker and quicker. So, which was really cool, and mate, it was a really cool tour. Absolutely loved it, and loved being a part of it, and we were. I don't know whether you saw that last race. And,
certainly did, yeah.
France, and holy shit, that was close.
And then, obviously to top it off with, how much of the $1 million did Slingers share with you?
Oh, not much.
Fuck all.
Was there prize money? I thought I saw something.
Yeah, that's what Kyle said that too.
Geez, there was a lot of shots at the bar that night.
Yeah. I think, Slingers has a house at Como. Like Como
and
in Italy,
and a nice
next to Clooney's.
He said we could use it, but I've never used it.
He said you could use it, and he won't charge you for it.
Actually, on that team, sorry, BP. On that team, who was the bloke that annoyed you most, and why was it Cole Langford?
The seagull.
The seagull, didn't hear that one.
The seagull. Please explain.
Mate, you watch him run across the yacht, and he's always in a flap. I
thought he was running across the yacht looking for chips.
It's mate, I've been really lucky. Hey, Oracle, every bloke was awesome. Sail GP, we all got along, mate. We'd train together, we'd race together, we'd drink together. And it's the same, Hooligan, I did a bit of sailing here with the team at Hooligan. And then also Willow, recently leading into the last Sydney to Hobart. And, mate, just every single one of the blokes, I've been really blessed with the teams that I've been on. And, we all get along.
I think the good guys rise to the top. There's no question there. There is the element of dickheadness, as we say on this show, but there's generally you can find yourself in a good cream.
Yeah.
I've got to ask you one thing: Cup or GP? Which is your favourite? Which stands out? Which is the one that?
Wow, that's a good question. I loved the Cup. Absolutely loved it. What I didn't love about it was I never saw the family. Hours, just absolute hours. If you could find the balance was sail GP. At the end of the day, I got to sail a yacht that was, that cat was just a friggin' beast. And so, I loved every second of it. And like I touched on before, the team made it that much more enjoyable as well. Would I do another Cup? I certainly would consider it. Yeah, for sure. We need an Aussie team, don't we?
Well, we've got news for you.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got it all happening.
But look, I love the America's Cup. Just all the people, not just the sailors, but all the shore crew, all the people working behind the scenes. It just to see the dynamics of it all come together, and how it has to come together was just remarkable. I'd never been a part of anything like it, and it was an experience I'll never forget. And I still look back at photos and vision back at the Cup, and even though it wasn't that long ago, I look back going, how cool is that? I could be anywhere in the world. I wouldn't care where I was, but to be a part of it, I was really blessed to have that opportunity.
Did I see, right, when you were in the Cup and you'd made the team and you're doing the grinding practice, that suddenly Grant Hackett turned up?
Yeah.
What, saying, I'm thinking I might join the Cup now?
Yeah.
No, mate. No, this is my fucking domain.
So our strength and conditioning coach, Oscar, he put him through a test, the step test, just to see how he goes. Mate, he's a beast. He did pretty well. But, he jumped on board, and, he was pretty lucky the boys let him on board, and he ripped around the great sound there in Bermuda, which was pretty cool. And, he was going through a bit of a rough patch there back then, and he had an opportunity to come over and spend a bit of time in Bermuda and just sort of chill out and regroup.
You still catch up with those guys?
Yeah, mate. We have probably a lot like you boys. We have a little chat group going on online, which is pretty funny. So absolutely. I'm still in touch with almost all of them, which is really cool.
Awesome.
So was there a noticeable difference for you, like, when you all your sport with surf life, with your swimming, it's kind of individual. I guess the Taplin gave you a feel for the team thing, but was there a real noticeable difference? Did you enjoy the team thing more than the individual? Or
I did, yeah, absolutely. And I think that was a desire at the end of the day, is that I wanted to be a part of something bigger than just myself, and that was to be a part of a team. And I thrived under being under a team. That was where, if you were to fail, you're failing not just you, but you're failing everyone else around you. And that kind of pressure I've always kind of thrived on. And that's where the tackling in surf life saving was so good, is that, there's 6 of us in a taplin, and you got one leg out of the 6 legs. And if you don't perform, mate, it was crucial. And that was kind of me at the end of the day. I'd always do the swim leg, and I was relied on quite heavily at times to try and bring us back into contention, and, a lot of pressure. But I don't know, I've always been pretty lucky that I've liked the pressure. I've liked the nerves, and, it's always been a good thing, and something that I've always enjoyed the taste of.
Do you think you brought the that drive of being, doing your solo stuff into the team stuff, and it actually lifted the team around you a little bit? Because often in team stuff, it's not as driven. There's elements of he'll do that or he'll do this, but with you coming in, it sort of lifted that up to the next level.
Yeah, I think so. I think they saw that, I kind of brought a level of expertise as far as, physical output goes. Like I said before, we had so many gifted athletes in there. But, I got all the boys swimming.
You wouldn't get me swimming, because the last time I tried swimming, I banged my head into the wall about halfway down the 50-metre pool.
Oh,
I'm useless on a piece.
that's no good.
No, but I'm not bad. Not bad with the surfboard.
Nice, yeah. And so, yeah, I got them swimming, purely just for cardio. Strength endurance, I got them paddling as well. And so, a lot of the boys were, they purchased skis. The guys that didn't want the skis, they got SUPs. And so, we did a whole heap of paddling in Bermuda, a whole heap of swimming as well, a lot of downwinders. And, it was just another element to what we needed, as far as the athletes go on board with the sailing.
And Team New Zealand just went for a bike ride.
On the water and off the water.
Yeah.
Could you imagine those guys? Okay, lads, we're going for a ride after work. You get stuffed.
We tested it. We both, Graham Spence, another grinder in Oracle, and myself, we flew to Utah about 2 years out. I think just inside 2 years. And we did a whole heap of testing in Utah to see what the correlation was between the upper body strength with grinding and the lower body stuff. So we ran all those numbers, and at the end of the day, we were producing more power from our upper body than we were from our lower body. And still to this day, I'll stand by that. My 20-minute test, my legs don't come anywhere near my upper body, but the difference is at the end of the day, you have you've got your hands full, so you're on the pedestal where the Kiwis just got it right. They could produce power and still be able to use their hands and control the boat and the flight of the boat. Yeah. And they just there were things. We had smart guys in the team that should have looked at all of this, and they made a decision at the end of the day.
Maybe the next one is what you mentioned before, is an actual treadmill. And just get a whole shitload of runners.
or a bunch of mouse.
Just one big one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine it? Just a bunch of blokes sprinting all day.
By then, aeros become such a big thing, you won't even see them, they'll be in the hull of the yacht.
Down below.
There's blokes on board? What?
There's Jimmy driving around.
Yeah. living the dream.
You're like a slave ship. Well, you talk about like taking on pressure and responding to pressure and nerves. So Dancing with the Stars series season 3.
I want to go down this path. I do want to go down this path because I love this stuff. You're in trouble now, mate.
Well, second to Ninja.
Ninja Australia.
Is as far as my favourites are concerned. But yeah.
Yeah, Ninja Warrior. Oh. Shit, I was bad on that.
Well, I wasn't going to say
Dancing
anything.
with the Stars.
I wasn't going to say anything, but Toby Masani's like, didn't stick that one, Ky.
No, didn't stick it at all. Yeah.
Mate, all that stuff, though, like, despite the nerves and a bit of intimidation, good fun, though, right?
Oh, mate, it was awesome. I drank on Dancing with the Stars, though I was that nervous. I had a few little shots of vodka before I went out on
I don't think anyone has danced without having a bit of a drink, right?
You should see us at 4:00 in the morning at Jules Bar Tavern in the middle of Hindley Street in Adelaide.
Good.
It was good fun. I had a great little dance teacher partner, and it was an experience. Would I do it again? Probably.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, do you use those moves when you get out?
No.
Come on.
That takes lots of alcohol, mate. By then, I don't even know what moves I'm doing.
So you dance with a lass by the name of Masha Belash?
Masha.
Yeah. Masha and Killer?
Masha, yeah.
Okay. And, of course, on your series was Dawn Fraser, the great Dawn Fraser, probably one of the most iconic athletes in all of Australian history. A swimmer.
Yep.
And bit of a loose unit, old Dawn.
Yeah.
How did you go there? Did you get on with Dawn?
Yeah, when I see her, she's a great lass. She's good. She's a Sunny Coast girl as well.
Yeah.
I'm born up in Nambour, so Sunny Coast. Yeah.
Wow.
Absolutely. Queensland boy through and through, mate.
Yeah.
Not that I should be admitting that right now.
Footy's going well for you.
Jesus Christ.
A lot of New South Welshmen listen to this show.
Oh.
For our international guests, that's about
good on them. They can milk it for the moment.
Yeah. You can't get on a work conference call without anyone just piping up, just going, "Oh, you're from Queensland, aren't you?"
Yeah.
It goes great.
Well.
That's when Jordan says, "No, I'm actually from Papua New Guinea."
Yeah. No, I mean, you've had from a perspective of a life as a kid, you know, like you must sort of looking back, you know, like have you met all your dreams, or are you doing things that you never dreamed of?
I've always wanted a challenge, and I think that's been the biggest thing and the biggest driver at the end of the day. Yeah. So, you know, I grew up with nothing, and you know, I still got nothing. No, it's mate. I've always just wanted the challenge, and that's where my path has always led me. You know, surf lifesaving has always been a true love of mine, and you know, I've gone down that path, and then I wanted to represent Australia at the highest level, and so an Olympics was a dream that has always been there, a burning desire, and then you know, I've always wanted to sail, and you know, sail on not, you know, a good yacht, and that opportunity, you know, what didn't see coming, to tell you the truth.
I was going to say, it seemed like it was just sort of almost destined, and you know, like it just, you know, met up with Slingsby and bang, bang, bang. All of a sudden, you're out there doing the America's Cup. I mean, it's everyone's dream.
Yeah. No, you know, I feel really blessed. I haven't won an America's Cup though. That's next on my bucket list.
On the list.
I was going to say, now you've got the bug bitten you.
Yeah, I was like, God damn it, I got to do another one.
Yeah. But the thing is, you're still sailing. Like for those who think, oh, you know, you're just blowing in, like you're still sailing. As you said, you did the Willow program for the Hobart that didn't happen. That's where you met Bicey, of course. So
probably would have won.
Probably would have won.
I think you would have. I think
fair chance we would have won the race.
Yeah,
no worries at all in that race.
Yeah, mate. I've been blessed to be on some pretty cool boats with some cool teams, but that was one team that you know, I'd sit back and watch, you know, Bicey and all the boys do their thing, and holy shit, it was just a different ball game.
Have you done much? Like, I mean, when you talk about, I know you've done a lot of sailing, but have you done much of that sort of that level ocean racing?
I did the hooligan program for quite a while on the TP52. So, you know, again, you know, a lot of great sailors, experienced guys. And then I sailed on a yacht. This was years ago. I can't even remember. It might have been Fujifilm. It was a Volvo back up in, on the Whitsundays there out of Hamilton Island. But that was, that was 15 years ago, I think.
But that Willow team was, I mean, if you looked on paper who was on that boat, my God, you would have just come out of that and gone. Custom House would have been fun.
Yeah, it was, mate. It was insane to see. I sit back. I used to sit there at times and just take a few seconds out when I wasn't on the handles, and just to watch, you know, how good these guys are on the water as sailors. And it was one thing to watch the boys at Oracle, and then another thing on Sail GP because I knew the boys. But you know, guys like, you know, on the Hooligan, but then Willow was just a different beast.
Different disciplines. It's
different disciplines, and just so much respect on how experienced the boys are. And then when you look at their records and what they've actually done, it makes complete sense. But yeah.
I guess the big thing would have been that race in particular, as Bicey said, would have probably produced a win with that boat. You would have seen the next level again.
Yep.
And to be out there in those conditions, which that race was, I mean, it would have been just phenomenal.
Gosh, we would have hooked down. You know, we were pushing just to turn around, cross the line, and turn around and come home. But you know that. But
the Volvo 70 is still probably one of the most iconic offshore racing boats.
I think so.
And the way the Coonies had actually and the boys had put that boat back together and refitted it, it was, you know, just there ready, chomping to go. So maybe we get a chance again this year, Ky. We'll see.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But mate, when you boys wanted to unleash that thing, she wanted to go, and so it would have been an amazing trip down, regardless of the conditions. And I know it would have performed really well. And when we had to do the test, that 24 hours offshore test, we had, that was a good one too. Oh gosh, that was when COVID broke out.
Yeah, when COVID broke out that night. Exactly.
36 hours.
You were out to sea, I remember.
Yeah.
You were out to sea, and we were in going through it all.
I think we were gone for just over 30 hours, and none of us had reception. It wasn't until we got into reception, all our phones.
All the phones are ding, 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 ding.
Three quarters of the boys on board were all from Northern Beaches, where it broke out.
Races off.
It's like, no. Couldn't have happened at the worst time.
Yeah.
So funny though, isn't it? It happens at the worst time all the time. Here we go again.
That's it. Holidays.
Move on.
Holidays.
So we're coming to the end of our time, bud, like much as I don't want it to be. But I guess for people in other sports sitting down there listening to this at the moment, just going, geez, I hope he doesn't pick our sport next.
Bobsled.
Bobsled. Is that it?
Okay.
Where are you going?
That's the one, eh? Yeah.
That's it?
Winter sport.
Yeah, no, I think a winter sport's a good one. I'm just trying to think what you could do. So bobsled is it, or
maybe? Right. Just jump in that thing and go down.
I got a sense no winter sport, whilst the desire may be there.
It's not going.
The minute you're in less than 23 degrees ambient temperature,
and
not much fun.
and in full body lycras.
Oh yeah, I've been there and done that, mate. That's the lycras. That was my world before sailing.
Oh, how do you go with the matching outfits? You say you love being part of the team, but does the matching outfits thing do your head in or not?
What do you mean, the matching outfits?
When you're in a sailing boat team, like I looked at a few photos of you guys all before, in your Sail GP team and your little matching outfits and your America's Cup team. Sailing, we love a matching outfit. I just wonder what you think.
Absolutely. No, mate, I had the same. We had matching outfits with the clubbies in the swimming. We'd just run around with a hell of a lot less gear.
Yeah, of course.
Nothing
A pair of
better.
sluggos and a cap on our head.
Nothing better though than a green and gold tracksuit though.
Oh, can't beat it.
Absolutely. Adidas.
You'd have a couple hanging up in the cupboard. Yeah.
Yeah, no, got a few.
Well, actually, if we get the Willow back up and running, we'll mention it to Jim. We'll get some tracksuits. We'll get some tracksuits.
Black tracksuits.
Yeah, love it. Oh dear. I think we're going to have to call it, boys. I think we've dragged enough out of Ky. I reckon I personally would like to stay talking for about another 10 hours, but we'll just have to delay that, unfortunately. But
it seems a common theme, doesn't it? At the moment?
Yeah. But yeah, mate, super chuffed that you came on the show.
Thanks for having me, boys. Mate, it's been a pleasure. Next time we need to do it over a beer, live.
That's the go.
Well,
now we're talking.
Funny you mention that. There may or may not be some sailors' lager coming your way.
Oh, wicked.
We'll see what we can do, including a merchandise pack.
Yeah. But the minute three of us are together in a bar, it's an open invite. We're going to have, you're more than welcome, mate.
Legend.
It'd be a ton of fun.
We just need to open the borders to the rest of the country, right?
Just forget about that. I think we just cut New South Wales out and set them adrift now.
Yeah. Bye then. Catch you later.
All right.
Beauty.
All right.
Cheers.
Legend.
Thanks, Hursty.
Thanks,
Cheers, mate.
boys. Have a good night.
Good on you, Ky.
See you, fellas.
Mate, Ky Hurst, dead set legend, absolute legend. I like pretty much everything about that bloke except his taste in cars.
Funny you mentioned that. So the Willow program, which we spoke about a little bit there, we were out training one day and we come back to the apartment or the mansion, let's say, and there's a Land Rover Defender in the car park. Who's this? Who is it?
You imagine
Get
Boise running
along
around?
quite well with this bloke. Next thing you know, Ky and I are rooming together and just scrolling the pages, looking at Defenders and old Land Rovers and shit like that.
Would you have had the 1951 one by then? Or?
Yeah, yep,
Oh.
yep. Yep. Nah, we had plenty of shit to talk about.
Best
Sailing.
of mates. Best of mates. Best of mates.
Kai's like, oh, you want to go for a run in the morning or go for a swim or something? Oh, no, mate. Let's have a look at Defenders instead.
Let's sit around and look at websites.
I love it. Love it. Cool.
Legend. And, yeah, actually having the honour to sail with him as well. And let's not be deceived here. His ability on a boat is second to none as well. And just that whole fact of growing up in the ocean and knowing how the ocean works, what he alluded to, what he spoke about at the very start, that's shit you can't teach, man.
Yeah.
It's a different level, though, isn't it?
It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. Like I mean, you know, I was fanboying all week at the prospect of having Ky on because, you know, just watching him compete, you know, like it was huge. He's
professional element, yeah.
But non-Australians, we're talking absolutely dead set legend, one of the top Australian athletes in Australian culture. You know, like what he did was just iconic because it was huge, that Uncle Toby series on TV. It was like 3 or 4 hours a day on the weekend. It just wasn't. It was huge.
You know, I guess if you're out of Australia, you probably don't really get a handle on it. But it is true. What we're saying is that whole Uncle Toby's and Nutrigrain series was iconic. And if they were household names.
Absolutely, still are.
Yeah,
still are. Yep. Cool.
Yep.
Moving on. Awesome. I'll be looking forward to catching up for a beer though one day. Not talking Defenders though, I can tell you. Those bloody things.
Sure. You know it's going to come up.
No, it's all right. You don't have to.
You know he's going to say, so you don't like Defenders, Jay. What's wrong with Defenders, Jay?
They spill all everywhere. Nothing. I got no problem. Just you've got to have a bit of banter going on, otherwise it doesn't sound as much fun. No, they're the shittest cars ever. Right, Secret Pro. Anyone want to throw Secret Pro stuff out there?
Oh, just so much of it.
Oh, really? Why? Nothing. As long as it's not Etchells BP. Oh, so there's nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving on. That's it.
No, nothing of substance in Secret Pro world at this point in time.
Boys, listener of the week, did you make a decision, boys?
I have, yes.
Okay.
There's a special mention.
Yeah.
I must admit. Let me just. The listener of the week goes to Matt Butterworth.
No doubt. No doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
For
this
the
one.
International Etchells Regatta Flug Puckers Cup.
The Flug Puckers Cup.
It'll be run from the 1st of 5th of Feb 2022. And organising authority, Pittwater Flying Squadron. Now, I think we actually just got to post this, right?
Yeah.
And let everyone read it. But there's some fantastic things there.
Yeah.
Essentially,
This is the notice of race we're talking about.
notice a race for the Internationals Etchells, which welcomes Mould 11 and all the banter that goes along with it. And I mean, it's based around Etchells and it's based around beer. And Matt has taken time to actually, as part of the notice of race, use every single one of our logos that we've come up with so far.
He's done well.
And did you see the course?
Oh, and the course, shall be pursuit-style course in the vicinity of Lion Island, Broken Bay.
Love it.
Yeah.
And, Brad, I did help you out, Brad, but I did help you out by delivering beer to you. Sorry, Matt was. Matt.
Yeah, Matt.
Sorry, Brad, I was thinking of Butterworth. Matt, I did bring you beer and it seems I'm in the crosshairs as well.
Yep, that's it. We'll put it up. One of you boys put it up.
Registration and measurement. All boats shall have something that looks like a measurement certificate, sail measurement certificate, or suitable scribble on a napkin with Mould 11. Clause 6.2. Boat shall only use sails as measured for the hull number noted on its entry form or scribble on napkin or bar coaster. So, Matt, legendary effort. Definitely
absolutely.
listener of the week. There may or may not be a merchandise pack coming your way, old mate.
Beauty. Hey, gentlemen, can you tell me where you can find a cherub in Sydney? For those from overseas who don't know cherubs, they're a little 12-foot sort of two-person skiff style thing, quite cool boats.
I can tell you.
They've all disappeared, BP. What's going on?
I can tell you. They're on my camera.
They're on your camera.
On my phone, yeah. I just went up to my good mate Shane Guarneri up at Doyle Sales, and there they were.
Right.
All of them.
All of them.
All of them.
What's going on?
Well, apparently they went to New Zealand. Some bloke called Mike, Bossy, you know him.
Yeah, Mike the Moose Sanderson
Yeah, that's him.
has started a wave, has reintroduced the cherub class back into NZ at a scale that we probably haven't seen an influx of boat within this size range for quite some time, I wouldn't imagine.
It's incredible.
And they're dragging them out of sandpits. They're bloody flying. Well, I know Moose was basically trying to find every available etchel around. And good friend of mine, Duffy, David Duff, who's back in the etchel sailing with his son, is he's literally came out of the sandpit.
Yeah. Well,
It's been done up, is sailing. And, yeah, great fleet there. And when you look at who's on the list, it's a bit of the who's who of yachting as well, just quietly.
That's pretty cool, though. Like, just to see all the boats suddenly packed up and sent to New Zealand, it's crazy.
yeah, it was pretty amazing. He bought a bunch of boats, and I was there the day before they were getting packed. Just happened it was by chance. I thought, what the hell's going on here? And I asked Shane, what's happening? He says, they're all going over to New Zealand tomorrow, getting put in the container. And there was a few boats there, and a couple of them had covers, and a couple of them didn't have covers. A couple of them were a bit worse for wear. But there was one there that was she's a sandpit.
Oh, straight from the sandpit. That might be the bar when they set it up at the yacht club.
And straight back to the sandpit. Some bloke had tried to fix it and then decided not to fix it. And anyway, it was good to see.
And there's also some new designs out there with the cherub as well. They're available. You can buy as kit.
Yep.
So it's good, exciting.
Indeed.
Yeah, the Des Moines Sailing Club actually is just down the road from where I am. Has got a massive fleet of new boats. They're always developing. So yeah, they're right into it.
Cool. Boys, we know we've been watching for a while the Swan 125 that's about to hit the water. Well, and we saw it being launched, and now it's got its rig up and it's gone sailing. The Scorpius. Have you boys been paying attention? Any thoughts?
Shit house paint job.
I didn't want to say it. I'm glad you said
Seriously.
Yeah. It's kind of like just repeated same up the side of.
It's
of
a prawn, giant prawn.
On Rupert Dimitrov, or no, sorry, it's been a bit rude. Owned by a Russian billionaire. Bad paint job. I personally don't like it, but as the concept itself, she ain't no standard swan. I didn't see the coast stripe that the normal swans have,
or the teak deck.
But it's why not? Well, built by good friends, Killian Bush and his team of merry men that have built, whether it's Volvo boats or America's Cup boats over the past. So there would be absolutely no expense spared here. No stone unturned being out of the 1K stable.
Yep.
Got the full North Kit Southerns, EC6 Futures, the bloody North Sails. Got that kit fully rolling. It's
got the
an absolute weapon.
The C-foil?
The C-foil.
Yeah.
My question, what do you reckon it cost?
Oh, enormous amount of money.
A lot.
I'm going to say 20 million euro.
I'm gonna double that.
Yeah, I was going close to 40.
Wow. Well, 20 million euro. Are we talking Aussie or euro?
Euro.
40
Speculation,
euro.
But you've got to obviously look at, for example, a boat like Speedboat, the original 100-footer. Back in the day, that would have been close to 20 US.
Wow.
So,
and 10 million of that's Tony Mutter's wage, isn't it?
well, you have a look at the crew list.
Well, Pepe Rubius, who else? Nettie.
So, no, but mate, it takes. That's what we still need owners like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Building these building dreams of people. Otherwise, this shit wouldn't happen.
Well, the whole thing comes back down to the fact that it filters down the technology and we've always been
whereas in this case, it actually filtered up.
Yep,
I just had a Swan 36 and just stretched it out a bit.
made it big.
Just moved each station slightly further apart.
No, it looks awesome. I'd love to see some like proper interior shots and all the systems and stuff.
Yeah,
it should be phenomenal.
We'll get on. All right. Well, that opens up the question then. What is the world's coolest sailing boat?
Well, I'm biased.
Okay. Well, you hit us with your bias then, BP. Is it something called an X2?
No, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to.
No. All right. Let's say for you, let's say the X2's a given, right?
It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy.
So what next? What's the second best for you?
For me, I think
probably a rainbow.
No, in all seriousness, we tapped on this earlier. I still love a Volvo 70.
Right.
I do.
Fair enough.
To go sailing on, I love them.
I think there's, I need a bit more time to prepare my answer for this one because there's probably a couple of categories.
I gave you the run sheet like a few days ago.
Yeah, I know, but I'm still working on the answers. Similar to I'm still working on the best off the boat class, still working on a few little projects.
Yeah. We don't complete much, do we? We're not exactly renowned for finishing ideas off, are
Finishes. Well, finished a few times. Hang on, we got to wrap this up. We've got to get them put to bed at some point in time too.
All right, let's just rip through a couple of things then that are pretty interesting. Of course, the announcement this week of the Old Team World Tour, the single-handed solo World Tour. Did you boys see that announcement?
Saw it. I think what Mike Golding said. Mm-hmm. By the way, lots of comments about Mike on the show. Yeah. Really good. Basically, him saying that kind of concept of boat is something that he just thinks is so out of this world, and I agree. Regardless of if there's 2, 4, 6, 8 on the racetrack or whatever it is, but unbelievable. Good boats.
Oh, it's going to. But I mean, you couldn't pick a more terrifying event to do than a solo Old Team race around the world, could you?
Well, there's only a few corners. A bit easier than going around the Cairns, I guess.
Imagine that 1.5 mile north windward Lourdes with a gate. We're going left. Who are you speaking to? Me.
I think Hannah Diamond put a post on Instagram or something saying how she was in the Round the Island race, and she commented specifically on the amount of time the setup and everything takes for the old teams to.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. No, it's crazy, but for one person to do all that because around the island was a team race. Geez, it's going to be. Anyway, good on them. Good on them. I think we can say we'll all watch with interest, yeah. And we should probably send a warning out to all the sunfish in the oceans.
Coming through.
Yeah. Don't pick on these ones. Sunfish Union, keep away from these ones.
Did you see the F18 Worlds this week? Did you guys take note of that? Mitch Booth, the Dutch sailor from Australia.
Dutch Australian.
Yeah,
in Spain.
and Spain, and his son Ruben winning the F18s, which was great. Good. I did note there that a very solid listener of the show, Brett Goodall, and his design was going pretty well. He was doing well sailing with Jason Waterhouse. So Jace was here and then must have just flashed straight across to do the Worlds, and now has flashed straight across to Japan. So living the high life. Their design was going pretty well. So congratulations there. But Mitch, I mean, he's a bit of a ledge, old Mitch, isn't he? He can sail a boat.
Well, given what was the fine, 38 points, almost half for the next guy.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Smashing.
Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah. For the we talk about Ashby and Bundock a lot, but Mitch Mitch was the original. We've had plenty of legendary cat sailors, but Mitch Booth and with sailing with his son Ruben did an amazing job. So congratulations. The other one that I noticed during the week is, remember in the Opties we had a 3 in a row win from that young Italian side. I think Marco Gradoni. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yep.
We're going to try and get him on.
World Sailor of the Year. His coach, we chatted to his coach and he said he was a bit nervous about doing English. Maybe we'll try him again, but new world champion in the Optimist game. Congratulations to the Brazilian, Alex Di Francesco.
There we go.
Francesco, cool. So that was a lot easier name than I was expecting.
It was nice of them, wasn't it?
I love it when they give me easy names.
Yeah. Big battle with the American Gil Hackle. So good to see the Yanks back pushing hard at the moment. So so Brazil. I guess we're going to see that name pop up to the top of the trees as well for quite a while. And Lomane Valade from France was the female winning the gold medal. Are you guys watching the tour, by the way, the Tour de France?
No.
Yeah, yep. Mark Cavendish,
yeah, on fire. I was listening to the commentary from last night and they were talking about Guy Martin, French cyclist.
Oh, yeah.
Guy Martin. And I was
Guy Martin.
Yeah, Guy.
Giles Martin. That's
Guy Martin.
Guy Martin. And that's Australian commentators doing it. I'm just going, it sounds wrong.
Yeah, Guy Martin.
Giles Martin. It's Giles Martin. Giles.
Yeah, Gillo.
Oh, dear. I don't know what you think about this, BP, but did you see the Cape 31? PP1 finishing, they did that race in Victoria on the weekend. Did you see big windy race from Melbourne to Blackgowrie?
No.
So the Cape 31 PP1, which was the smallest boat in the fleet, a fleet of 45 boats, was second on over the line.
Highly likely. The thing's a really quick boat.
To an RP 55, so a Reichel Pugh 55 fastest over the line, and then this thing comes second over the line. Those things are great, aren't they? They just smoke.
Yeah, if you've got to get a bunch of guys on it that can put it on its edge, then yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're like any of those boats. They can tip you off, but the key is making sure that you drive it hard and you know where you're at.
Would have been fun, mate. I reckon that would have been a fun ride. That's all I'm saying.
Absolutely.
I like boats that are on the edge. That's where the fun is.
Yes.
Right on the edge. All right. Anything else, gentlemen?
Well, we've got a big one coming up. Sail GP.
That's a good one. That is a good one. So well done, boss. That's this week. This week, Sail GP starts. The Great Britain
Plymouth Sound. Mm-hmm. So, stay tuned to this station.
So how does... So say for Sail GP Oz, you got Jason Waterhouse on that boat, right? And he's got to be at the Olympics, or is he going to be there? Like, what's going to happen? I guess we've got time, haven't we? Because the Olympics aren't now. They've got another week and a half sort of thing. So I guess he'll do Sail GP, then bolt straight over for the Olympics.
Don't know. I was speaking to Will Ryan yesterday. The quarantine side of things, very strict. They're not allowed out of the house. And if it is actually against the law for them to be seen anywhere else. If they are in the street, in a shop, they can actually be in deep trouble. So
what, during Sail GP or?
No, over in Japan.
Oh, okay.
Japan's going nuts, mate.
I don't know. I think it'd be well worth looking at. He might have to be there now.
I don't know, because none of the Australians are there at the moment. And I know there's a bunch of them that were here for training camp.
Will's over there now.
And, Will's over there. But there was a bunch of them that were here for training camp that have gone back into Sydney and go home before flying off to see family. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, it's crazy. I don't understand. And then Japan's actually declared a state of emergency, and they're locking down until August 22nd.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts.
It's crazy. I don't really understand how all this stuff works. But regardless, Sale GP's on.
Regardless, we'll be watching. Correct.
100%. 100%. We love it.
Regardless, we'll be reporting sailing.
Yeah. Well, we're not reporting. We're not reporters.
Oh, that's right. We're not reporters. We're not media.
We'll just create some idle chit chat.
Yeah, that's it.
We're just three idiots having a chat with the.
All we're saying to our people that listen to this show, who are our friends, nothing more with that Sale GP's on this weekend. Make sure you catch it. It'd be cool. It'd be good fun. Where it's easy watching. So yeah, it's cool. Good show, boys. I'm so pumped we had Ky Hurst on the show.
Yeah,
it was good. Concur.
Yeah. He's just all the sort of
is he a hero? Is he a hero of yours, Joe?
Hero of Australian sport.
Australian sport. Like,
just,
I'm the surf lifesaving fan. So Grant Kenny, GK, who lives just over there, and there's no such thing as an ugly Kenny. If you ever wonder, if you go through the families,
don't worry.
And the male models,
and the girls, don't worry. It's right through the family. And actually, Marty, his brother, has helped out a few of the Oddies coming up for the paddle race up here, although they probably can't come up anymore. Helped them out with giving them course tips. But then, you had the great Trevor Hendy, who's an absolute legend. I love, that whole concept of the waterman, that waterman thing that they talk about.
Yeah.
And, to me, I reckon that's a pretty cool thing, somebody that's a waterman, like you got the Hawaiian waterman, and we've got the Aussie waterman, and those guys are probably the personification of it here in Australia. We've got all our really talented surfers, we got super talented sailors, it's the same with the Kiwis.
Which actually reminds me, Jay, of just a special comment must go out to Brett Whitbread. That post that you put up this week of the boats coming in over the bar at Mooloolaba?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe his comment was, rumour has it Jordan Spencer was out showing them the way on his ski. Apparently he's still riding the wave.
Just
well done, Brett.
Can I just say, if you for anybody looking at those photos, like Mooloolaba Bar, the entrance to the harbour is just cactus at the moment. You've got to really ring me up if you want to come in. I'll have to tell you, because it's so hard to get in if there's a swell running. And there were surfers surfing right across the riverfront today, just this barreling right-hander. It was unbelievable. Anyway, did I say that in the show? I hope I haven't said that once already.
No, it doesn't matter. I just want to go back.
You should go out there on your ski just to lead them in. Be like the lead boat.
I'll be out there tomorrow, mate. Don't you worry.
Follow me.
Just before we go, I just got to explain.
Oh, hang on. I'll just catch this wave.
I just got to explain.
I'll get back to you in about half a.
Yeah, I just got to explain what was going on when we were discussing that with Ky, with the big waves over in New Zealand, and I just got this vision of all of it going on in the background, and all of it happening with the TV and all the action going on, and just you in the background, just cruising on these waves, just back and forward, waving to everyone, That's what was going on in my head when we were talking about this.
No, anyway.
Good.
They're the talent.
Love it.
Anyway, it's been fun.
All right, boys. I'm going to go get COVIDed up.
Oh, do you?
No, I'm on the road.
Oh, you're in Melbourne, of course. Yeah, right.
Good on you.
Where are you going to start the outro, BP? Where do you think you'll start?
Why don't you start it closer to the end this time?
Yeah. Oh, the guitar.
Yeah.
Hang on a sec. Let me go and get my guitar. My guitar usually speaks to me, so.
Okay.
Okay, go on. Hit it.
Yeah, good.
In front of the crest comes smile.
Right in front of the crest, BP. Just where you want to be.
That's it.
And I look behind, don't look behind.
Don't look behind.
Don't look behind.
So little time, I'm gonna make it right. I'm gonna live my
Appropriate
life.
you started with the crest of the wave with Ky Hurst as well. That was smart.
Nothing in front but a picture black at night.